The Rams' 2026 schedule revealed the opponents. How many national TV games will they get? Also, Sean McVay gave some new insights as to why he was grumpy on draft night. Also, do the Rams have the best roster in the NFL? That's coming up next on Locked on Rams.
You are Locked on Rams, your daily Los Angeles Rams podcast. Part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Ramley, and welcome to another episode of Locked on Rams, your daily podcast covering your Los Angeles Rams, free and available wherever you get your podcast. Locked on Rams, part of Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day. On today's episode, is Blake Corum the most underrated running back in the NFL? Will he start to get more snaps? Could he be that explosive running back the Rams have been looking for? Also, do the Rams have the best roster in the NFL right now heading into the 2026 season? Could they go after L'Jarius Sneed for cornerback depth? We're going to start today with the announcement that the Rams opener against the San Francisco 49ers in Australia is not going to be on traditional TV. It's not going to be on Fox. It's not going to be on NBC. It's not going to be on ESPN. It's not going to be on CBS. It is going to be on Netflix. But first, today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Netflix will broadcast the Rams 49ers in week 1 in September. Netflix has broadcast 2 Christmas games in each of the last 2 seasons, and they're picking up more games this year. The Rams and 49ers will be at 8:35 p.m. Eastern Time, so be around 5:35 Pacific. Not too bad there on Thursday, September 10th from Melbourne Cricket Ground in Australia. The game's going to be played locally on Friday morning in Melbourne, so it'll be a 10:35 a.m. start for the players. And in addition to being streamed on Netflix, the game is going to be televised in local markets and over-the-air TV. So those in Los Angeles and San Francisco will get the game on some traditional TV, but for the rest of the country, it's going to be a Netflix subscription. So that's the good thing there, too. It's like if you're in LA, if you're in San Francisco, really it's not going to be the biggest difference for you. But I know there's a lot of Rams fans all over the country. But really interesting to kind of see this because typically, I mean, I don't know. I don't think you want to see your game on Netflix or have to have a subscription because there's a little bit of a delay. Sometimes it can buffer. And let's be honest, we didn't ask for this. I think I'm just really against the whole idea of football games on Amazon, and maybe I'm just a little old-fashioned like that. But I do think that in a perfect world that you have these games on traditional TV. Because here's the thing, too. Like, if you side-by-side a streaming game versus a game on broadcast TV, and I've done this before. I know I'm a little hardcore with that. I just wanted to see. But if you're streaming, let's say if you're doing streaming cable on Fox traditional versus Fox broadcast, the Fox broadcast is going to be a little sooner. But it's okay. It's on Netflix, and the thing I do like about this is just the pure fact that the Rams are going to be center stage, and you'll kick off your season knowing that, hey, all eyes are going to be on this Rams team. And that's certainly something that I think is good for the game, good for the exposure. It's a great rivalry. It's really one of the greatest rivalries in the NFL. So that's definitely something to feel good about. But some more headlines. I'm going to run through some headlines today. And I found this pretty interesting. You had Sean McVay was doing an interview with Chris Sims. And Chris Sims got some more insight about the grumpy Sean McVay that everyone saw on draft night. And Sims also called it a little argument. He said that there was some sort of volatile situation. He said McVay told him that there was some volatile situation before the press conference. So that's really interesting, is what they said on the show. This is what Chris Sims said. Because he met up with Sean McVay, and he said, quote, "What he did tell me was the reason he, in the press conference, was pissed off had neither to do with him acting or the pick, but had to do with some sort of volatile situation that happened before they went out there. There was some little argument about something. He assured me it was nothing major, but he was a little peed off. That's what he told me. I don't think he'd have any problem with me sharing that, and that was that. So Sims didn't share any other details or information about exactly what it was and what the dispute was about, but McVay clearly was being bothered by something, and we don't know exactly what that was, but it's really going to one day we'll find out. Hopefully we'll find out. Hopefully we'll find out what it was and how he reacted. I mean, I think it'd be a combination of things. Things happen. Who knows? Family life, professional life. Who knows what it was? It was not the normal. It was not the normal Sean McVay that we've seen. It was not the normal Sean McVay that we always kind of know and love, and the Sean McVay that is gregarious and energetic, and the one that always looks like he's just a breath of fresh air, a beacon of light. You didn't see a Ty Simpson coming into it. We're really happy to have Ty Simpson. And Gary, he's a guy that we want to see out here. Learn behind Matthew Stafford, and he's going to learn from Cliff Kingsbury. And it's a we, not me. It's we didn't really hear that up-tempo. Hey, Gary, yeah, I think the Ty Simpson, I love him. Like, we just didn't hear that. But we did start to hear it the next day. So I think that's really all that matters. So it's not going to be too big of a deal after that. I think we'll see Sean McVay that's invested, that I think he wants to prove that I can develop a rookie quarterback into a Super Bowl champion, and I think he wants to prove the Seahawks and the 49ers and those guys wrong, that they should not have felt happy because the Rams are going to whoop them this year with the roster they do have, and that Ty Simpson will help them whoop them in future years when they have to play 2 games against them every single season. So another note, too, about the schedule release. That's always a big day. The NFL, they announced the release date for the schedule in 2026. The NFL has confirmed that the schedule release will be Thursday, May 14th. So we're going to get the schedule release next week. We already know the opener, and we already know the opponents that the Rams are going to be playing too. You got the home opponents: Seahawks, 49ers, Cardinals, Cowboys, Giants, Packers, Chiefs, Chargers, Bills. Wow. I mean, that is an absolutely loaded home schedule. If you're ever going to get Rams season tickets, this is the year to get them. 49ers is always interesting, but we know that there's that. Cowboys, Packers, Chiefs, Bills, Josh Allen, Chargers. They're both sharing that building, so it's like a home game for both in a way. Kind of like how Staples and Crypto used to be, Lakers, Clippers, that kind of thing. But Giants is interesting too. I want to challenge Rams fans. Do not sell your tickets for the Cowboys game. Do not sell your tickets for the Packers game. Do not sell your tickets for the Chiefs game. I think this year the Rams fan base is leveling up. Okay? We don't need to do hard counts and be a road stadium at our home stadium. I don't want to see that. So some really, really marquee home matchups. Then the away opponents: Seahawks, 49ers, Cardinals, the division opponents, Eagles on the road, Commanders on the road, Buccaneers on the road, Raiders on the road, the Raiders, and the Broncos. So there was some tough games. You got 2 against the Seahawks. You got 1 against the Eagles. Those are the last 2 Super Bowl champions. And then you'll also face the Chiefs, who won the Super Bowl before the Eagles and the Seahawks. So you're basically facing all the Super Bowl champions in recent years. In fact, the Rams will face each of the last 6 Super Bowl champions when you don't include them. So yeah, you got a lot of major talent in there. You got the Buccaneers in there, right? I mean, there's other teams. They're different rosters, but still, it is a loaded schedule for the Rams. We're going to find out next week. I'm very excited about it. We'll do our predictions for which are the primetime games. But, I mean, with the Rams being the favorites, I mean, I think you get 5, 6. I mean, you get loaded. I mean, Cowboys, prime time. Packers should be prime time. Chiefs should be prime time. Seahawks, 49ers, prime time. Eagles, prime time. Last week we had the Buccaneers, Sunday Night Football. Raiders, I mean, there's so many opportunities, but you're going to get the maximum primetime games for the Rams in 2026. When we come up next, when we come back, we're going to talk about this roster. We're going to talk about Blake Corum. That's coming up next on Locked On Rams. Support for today's episode comes from Square, the system that helps fix one of the biggest headaches in running a business. Starting a business is exciting, but actually running it, that's where things can get complicated fast. Payments, inventory, staff, scheduling, online orders, it's a lot to manage. That's why Square brings everything together into one connected system. Square helps you take payments, track sales, manage inventory, and keep your business running smoothly without juggling a bunch of disconnected tools. One thing I've found and one thing I've noticed at some of my favorite local spots is how seamless everything feels when they use Square. Checkout is quick, receipts are easy, and the whole experience just feels more organized. There's a local coffee shop I love that uses Square, and it makes everything simple, from fast payments to loyalty rewards. As a customer, it's convenient, and from the business side, you can tell it helps owners stay focused on serving people instead of constantly troubleshooting systems. That's what stands out to me. Square helps businesses feel more efficient, professional, and ready to grow. If you're starting a business or running one that deserves better tools, Square helps you sell, manage, and grow without slowing down. Right now, you can get up to $200 off in Square hardware at square.com/go Locked On NFL. That's SQUARE.com/go Locked On NFL. Run your business smarter with Square. Get started today. And welcome back to Locked On Rams. Thank you for making Locked On Rams your first listen every single weekday. Free and available wherever you get your podcast. Locked On Rams, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Big shout out to those everyday listeners out there watching and listening to every single episode of Locked On Rams. I cannot thank you enough for watching and listening to every single episode. And right now you can join the Everydayers Club. That's where you get access to free audio, you get access to a members-only Discord, and you can join today at lockedonrams.supercast.com, and you can take your Rams fandom to the next level. Okay, I want to talk some Blake Corum, because the numbers show that Blake Corum is one of the most underrated running backs in the NFL, and that he could emerge as a player that could impact this team more than we expected, that we could get split time. We could see him get the lion's share of the reps. He's that good. Blake Corum, among all running backs with 100-plus carries and 8 carries in a game in 2025. 5th in yards per carry. Who's he behind? Achane, Cook, Henry, and Bijan Robinson. 2nd in success rate, just behind his own teammate, Kyren Williams. Top 10 in missed tackles forced. Top 10 in expected run percentage. 15-plus yards. Most efficient running back in the NFL. 1 fumble in 2 years. Blake Corum is that guy. Blake Corum has speed. He's got agility. He can run through tackles. And he's someone that could really see his role go up this season. And it just happens on a team where, hey, he didn't get the reps I don't think that he should have in his start with the Rams. I think that's going to change because they have a 1-2 punch. And really, this is the first time we've seen anything like this since Todd Gurley and C.J. Anderson. And they combined for over 2,300 yards, 400 yards from scrimmage in 3 postseason games. And you look at Corum, and with the Rams going up in their usage of tight end formations, the way that he's continuing to just improve overall, I think that he's someone that could really, really see an increase in snaps this year, and I am absolutely for it. I truly believe that this could be the year for Blake Corum. And I think that they're going to push each other. I think they're going to keep each other fresh. And I think it's pivotal for the Rams to have a run game. We've seen that last couple of years with the physical offensive line, running gap duo with Kevin Dotson, their line staying healthy. So this is the year for Blake Corum. But when we come back next, we're going to talk about the Rams roster and how they rank among the league's best. That's coming up next on Locked On Rams. We can stream anything, order food in minutes, do everything from our phones, and somehow buying tickets to live events still feels way harder than it should be. Long lines, confusing checkout prices, jumping at the last second. You got prices just going up at the very last minute. It shouldn't be that complicated. That's why there is Game Time. It gives fans the advantage and makes getting tickets fast and simple. I was just looking at getting tickets for the Lakers tonight. I got some. It took me minutes to find great options. I could see the full price up front. No surprise fees at checkout. The seat views are huge. You can check your exact view before you buy. And Zone Deals is where you pick the section and save even more. 2 taps and you have great seats locked in. It's quick, easy, and actually makes you want to go to more events. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets to every type of event with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and use account and redeem code LOCKEDON, LOCKEDON, for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. And welcome back to Locked On Rams. Thank you for making Locked On Rams your first listen every single weekday. Free and available wherever your podcast. Locked On Rams, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. All right, so where does the Rams roster rank among the top rosters in the NFL? The Athletic just did their ranking where they use a model, and it's really interesting. So the Athletic use a projection model based on every team's current post-draft roster to rank all 32 franchises, and the model projected each team's expected margin of victory, the X-MOV, against the average NFL roster and rank them. And here's the methodology. It says, to do this, the model uses various metrics and assigns a projection to each player to show their impact on a single game. Of course, positional value is quite important, which means, for example, that quarterback Josh Allen is worth a lot more to his team than running back Bijan Robinson, even though both sit atop their respective positions. The Rams finished atop this list with a 6.3 XMOV margin of victory, a full point ahead of the Seattle Seahawks. So here's what it says about the Rams. Although I didn't love their draft and they couldn't overtake the Seahawks last year, I think the Rams have the best roster in football. It still starts with the quarterback, of course, and Matthew Stafford is still playing at an elite level despite nearing retirement. The Rams also have the NFL's best receivers room led by Puka Nacua, plus a top 5 interior offensive line, defensive line, and cornerbacks room. That quality up and down the roster, both young players and veterans. There are some concerns at offensive tackle, but the rest of the roster is top-notch. So you look across the NFL and how the Rams are being evaluated. You look at the roster. I mean, you got the reigning MVP in Matthew Stafford, and you've got the same skilled players of Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams, and hopefully Terrence Ferguson is better, and hopefully they find a third wide receiver emerge. The defense also got better, too, with the return of Cameron Curl and the additions of Trent McDuffie and Jalen Watson. Other thing, too, I think it's tough to evaluate is the special teams with Bubba Ventrone and the leap they're going to take. You hired 2 special teams coaches, so that's kind of the big one. But just this roster, you look at it from a skill position standpoint, check, elite. I mean, I think that's kind of one of the things, too. You look at the Rams roster and you look across the board, and it kind of the question becomes, how elite are they at certain positions compared to others? And I think right now, you look at the depth chart. Matthew Stafford starter, running back Kyron Williams, Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, wide receiver 3, Kenate Mumfield, and Xavier Smith, CJ Daniel, Joe Whittington. They're going to be backups at the other wide receiver spots, and then they'll get some options there. Tight end Colby Parkinson, left tackle Alaric Jackson. Behind him is A.J.R. Curry. Left guard Steve Avila. Behind him is Justin Dedich and Wyatt Bowles. Center Coleman Shelton. Behind him is Bo Limmer. Right guard Kevin Dotson. Behind him is Keegan Trost. Right tackle Warren McClendon Jr. Behind him is David Questenberry. And you look at the tight end spot, Colby Parkinson, the starter right now. Behind him, Tyler Higbee. Behind him, Terrence Ferguson. And then you got Max Claren and Davis Allen in that group. But yeah, offensively, I think the only area where I would say you can improve upon is wide receiver 3. We talked about Blake Corum being behind Kyron Williams. And then you got Ronnie Rivers and Jarquez Hunter. I mean, you got elite quarterback, elite wide receiver. And I think that together, Kyron Williams and Blake Corum, you can view them as elite production. I mean, I think to get explosive plays, you're going to need to see Blake Corum kind of take that leap. And in the offensive line, you got to have them stay healthy. But yeah, that's a really elite roster. If you get MVP version of Matthew Stafford, you're going to feel really, really good about that. Now, you go to the defensive side, Kobe Turner. Behind him is Laurel Murchison. Nose tackle, Poona Ford. Behind him is Ty Hamilton. Braden Fisk, Byron Young, Nate Landman, Omar Space, Jared Verse, Jalen Watson, Cameron Kinchins, Cam Curl, Trent McDuffie, and Quinn Lake. I mean, where are the holes there? I think you don't really have a sideline-to-sideline linebacker that's really good in coverage, but then you got some special pieces that can kind of negate that and supplement that with the safety play. Guys like Quinn Lake, I think you're going to see some interesting stuff with Trent McDuffie. And then the line is the big question, too. Does Jared Verse take a big leap? They need Jared Verse to be an elite player. I think that's, if I'm making a list of things I want to see on the defensive side of the football, Jared Verse entering consistent elite production territory is something that can take this team to another level. I think Kobe Turner staying stout, making sure he's doing what he does is big too, but that's definitely an elite defense if Trent McDuffie plays at an all-pro level. If the secondary is as improved as we expect it to be, that is where the major improvement comes from. And I certainly can see that. You look at the special teams, Harrison Mevis as the kicker. They didn't draft a kicker. They didn't bring in a kicker. So clearly they feel like Harrison Mevis can improve. Ethan Evans, you got Xavier Smith as the punt returner, Jordan Whittington as the kick returner, and Joe Cordona as the long snapper. So, yeah, that's a really, really good roster, man. Like, it's tough to find a hole in that roster. I mean, the holes, if you're going to find them, I mean, most people wanted the Rams to use their highest draft pick on a wide receiver. Did not happen. Puka's Puka. And you drafted C.J. Daniels in the 6th round. I think it's a great value pick. How much can we expect from him as a rookie? That's the big question, too. A lot of people want to see another wide receiver. But, yeah, I think another thing is the cornerback depth. You signed 3 UDFA cornerbacks, and hopefully you hit lightning in a bottle there with one more of them. But the Rams had 6 quarterbacks last year. You had Witherspoon, Williams, Forbes, Durant, McCreary, Wallace. The Rams have 4 cornerbacks on the roster who played last year for us or the Chiefs. Watson, McDuffie, Forbes, and Wallace. So in my opinion, this is definitely the biggest roster role. How should they address that? Trade, signing. I think that's kind of the whole. I think it's interesting to think that you got the cornerbacks that you did and you still feel like you need a cornerback. But you'd still need some there. And I look at a guy like a L'Jarius Sneed. L'Jarius Sneed is out there, and he's got some pros. He really does. He's perfect in Chris Shula's scheme. Sneed is someone that is aggressive. He can defend against the run. He can blitz the quarterback from the outside position. And if you get Sneed, that'd be good for the depth. Excuse me. The Rams only have 3 outside corners with legitimate NFL experience. And then on top of the depth, And what he brings, Snead, what we saw this Rams struggle with last year, we saw this team struggle against bigger-bodied elite receivers. And Snead can defend that. And he definitely, if he's right, he can kind of be in that mold of the McDuffies and the Watsons. And we're seeing not just guys in cover, but they cover with physicality. And I think, too, I like the fact that you can bring in a guy that can allow McDuffie to move to the safety spot sometimes, to play in the slot sometimes. And you can move McDuffie around and put him in places where he can be optimized, where he can be a chess piece that you move around and you're less predictable. So, yeah, I like the versatility of McDuffie, and I think that you bring in someone else that you can trust on the outside that you can do more stuff with him. I mean, you got Cameron Curl, you got Quinn Lake, and McDuffie, I think, is something you want to put on the really interesting, hey, we're not going to just throw him out there and say, okay, you're going to play on this side of the field. I think that's not the best way to utilize him. I think you want to get the most out of him because of doing that. I think that would accomplish that for sure. And I think, too, I mean, look, Snead is already signed to a deal with the Titans. So he for sure wants to kind of restart that career. And the Rams, they have cap space to give him some money and allow him to reestablish himself. And I also, too, I like the fact that he's won 2 championships. He's a Chief. I mean, it's the Chief secondary. He started in both those games. And he knows what it's like to be on the big stage. And Snead, I think he's kind of got that championship level experience. And to me, it's just schematically. I just love the fit schematically. So that's my pitch for Snead. And I think it's very, very clear at this point that the Rams certainly could absolutely benefit from another cornerback. Not even benefit. It's an absolute need at this point. Because also you need depth at the position, too. You don't want to burn guys on the ground. You want to give yourself some insurance in the event that guys are going to get injured or whatever it may be. So we can't let that be the reason why the Rams lose this year. You can't let it do it. So I like this idea. I'm pushing for it. And I'm just trying to load up as much as humanly possible. As much as humanly possible. By the way, before we get out of here, Andrew Whitworth likes the Ty Simpson pick. He does. I'll give you the Andrew Whitworth spin on. He was on Rich Eisen, and he shared his thoughts. He was like, I think so because the only reason it doesn't surprise me, and honestly did not know they were going to pick it, I think for me, when I start to look at it, all right, when I'm around the organization last few years and I just look at what's going on with Matthew, at one point not really sure how long he was going to play. Then there was last year kind of the dollar amount mattered to him and the contract and, hey, do you want to explore and see what's out there? To me, it feels like, not in a negative way, but just how Matthew's trying to figure out what does he want when the back end of his career look like, how much longer is he going to play? And at some point, the organization, I'm just looking at what the Los Angeles Rams have been under Sean McVay and his leadership with Les Snead and Kevin Demoff and Tony Pastores and those guys. They've continued to try to say, hey, we're always going to be successful. We are always going to be all in and try to win. So why would they not be considering, hey, if we have a high draft pick, why would we not want a quarterback of the future? It might not play for years. But the reality is we've got it, so they can go assemble around it. The reason is that. So, yeah, I mean, I think I kind of gave like a double-sided answer there for sure. But he would say that it's always kind of an expensive thing to draft a quarterback early as far as using draft capital. But all right, those are his thoughts. Kind of basically saying, hey, Matthew Stafford's kind of year to year, and the Rams don't want to fall off. So that's why it makes sense. But that's going to do it for this episode of Locked On Rams. My name is Doug McCain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. Until next time, whose house? It's Locked On Rams house.